The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Welcome to your Health and Wellness Hour, sponsored by Luminosity Wellness Center here in Las Vegas, coming to you from the studios of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting. Our goal is to incite and ignite all your senses and curiosities. So sit back, relax, open your mind and your heart, and enjoy the show.
Health and Wellness Hour here at the Luminosity Center. Today, our special guest is Kevin Dunlap. Kevin is an author and speaker and a transformational life and business coach. He's the author of Designing Your Own Destiny, and he's here today to talk to us about strategies for this upcoming new year and how to set realistic life goals. And Kevin, I'm going to throw it to you, and you can tell us a little bit about your background and what got you interested in helping people.
Well, Abra, thank you. I'm glad to be here today. And my background has been extremely varied. I do discuss a lot of this in the book. And however, my background, growing up in a small town just outside of Pensacola, Florida, it's a small town called Pace. And very few people would actually know where it is, because when I was growing up, we only had one red light, one grocery store, and if you went to the elementary school, you went to the same middle school and the same high school with everybody. So it was a very, very small town. However, my background was after leaving Pace, which was very close to Pensacola, I joined the Navy because Pensacola has three military bases there. And that actually, when I joined the service, just like, they always say, you join the service to go and see the world, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. After joining in, I ended up being stationed in Yokosuka, Japan for 4 years on ship, which means that we're not just in Japan for those 4 years, we're actually touring through the oceans, going through the Indian Ocean, the Pacific, and all these other oceans, and I ended up getting to see over 12 countries over the 4 years I was over there. And that is probably, I think, was one of the first big transformational things that happened in my life, was coming from a small town and then actually getting out and seeing the world.
It's mind-blowing.
Oh, it absolutely is.
So it gets you that little sense of adventure that we're all kind of seeking and admiring in other people, right?
It does. Oh, wow. And not only does it that, but also you start seeing other people from a different mindset, or a different perspective on things. It's like if you grow up in a small town, I may not know how a Vietnamese person would react, because we didn't have Vietnamese people in our town. We would not know how other cultures and other religions and other just whatever, how they would react, because you're just not exposed to it in a small town, or even I would say even a medium-sized town. You just don't get those kind of interactions, like being immersed in their culture, where you're the minority in that culture, and you're the one that stands out as the minority. So that was huge.
Great. So tell us a little bit how, from those mind-opening adventures, how you decided to lead into some personal growth adventures, and how you got through that direction.
Well, I first got involved in personal growth indirectly. I think we had talked about this before. Is that I was working in a network marketing company that actually went out of business in 1999, and our leader, the mentor, taught us different things. I did not realize that was actually personal growth topics. It wasn't until a few years later that, when 2002, I started listening to, maybe you guys have seen this, Personal Power by Tony Robbins, which was on cassette tapes. Oh. This is way before CDs. I mean, this is, you have to flip it to the other side to get the second half of the material. And just listening to that program, that was a 30-day program. And one of the things I did not realize, and when people take these kinds of programs, is a lot of them, they say it's a 30-day program, and I said, okay, it's 30 days, let me go ahead and do it. And it was like day 7 or day 5, and Tony Robbins already saying most of the people have already dropped out. It's like, why would you drop out? I mean, you bought the program. Why don't you finish what you started? I mean, that was self-evidence.
Yeah.
But
you're a sponge, though. You're like, I need more. I'm feeding off this. This is really great stuff.
Absolutely, and that is what that was one of the, for as far as personal growth goes. Mm-hmm. That was the first knowing personal development class that just changed my life forever, because that led into taking other life classes in 2010, and then that's what inspired me to write the book back in 2016. It's just all these different things, as well as my varied background with the military and other things I'm sure we'll talk about here shortly. It's just has completely changed my life, and now I want to give that back. I mean, not everybody has the same tools or have even been exposed to these tools, so that's the reason I'm doing it now.
But we all have a story and we all have a why. And you said, there's all these little things that you thought were just small changes, but they were super impactful changes, right? And I call it celebrating serendipity.
Okay.
You don't realize why until the why is not important until later, and then we're putting those whys into the strategies and making bigger, more fulfilling whys, right? So how do we do that? We're going to go in, if you want to go ahead and kind of grab hold of that, like your whole reason for writing your book is to help people do what you learned how to do, right?
Exactly. And one of the things about this book, which is different than most others, and I'm not going to harp on this too much, is that this is also an exercise book. I don't know if you can zoom in here, but each chapter has exercise lines, at least 3 or 4 different topics per chapter. So that helps you build that game plan from like, okay, where am I now, and where is it that I want to go? And a lot of times it is those small things that makes a huge difference. And actually, I one of the things that I learned in the past was when I look back at some of the things that has occurred in my life, I'll go back and look and say, what was the reason that happened? And sometimes it was that small little minute little thing, like maybe ordering anchovies on your pizza, and it's something so minute that you did not realize would have such a huge effect later on, or I would not have an effect later on. And I would even challenge the viewers right now is, go back and look at some of the big changes that have gone in your life, and go back and look at the steps that led up to that change, and then go back to that point where it's like, what was the incremental step that caused that change? Me listening to Personal Power by Tony Robbins was buying his cassette series on eBay in October 2001, and started listening it in January 1st, 2002, and that changed my life forever, just that one program.
And do you feel that you get the tools you need when you're ready?
I think, as the old saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and that teacher could be anybody. It could be a mentor, it could be a coach, it could be a book, it could be even a song in some ways, or even a class. But once you are open to receive, then that's when the universe actually says, okay, here, we're providing it to you now.
So a lot of people are getting caught up in staying the same.
Yes.
And we're celebrating noticing the miracles in your day, opening your eyes to changing that state. We want people to be able to access that. So here at the Luminosity Wellness Center, we're all about bringing people together and just offering them daily practices of changing their state. You're saying we're going to implement these daily activities to just chip away and get down that path to the right goal, to develop an awesome strategy.
Yes, and also, even to take that a little bit further, is a lot of times the goal that you say that you have is not actually your true goal, because that's when you start really looking at the bigger picture. You will actually see that there's other things that are actually become more important than the ones that you're currently are focusing on.
So you want to talk about the wheel?
Yes, there's this is in chapter 15 of the book, something that I call the wheel of balance. And in that wheel of balance, some people, you may have seen it as, it was called also a life wheel, and that's been around for decades, probably even centuries. And when most people create their own life wheel or wheel of balance, as I call it, I like to break it down to 10 different segments. And those 10 different segments, you rate yourself 1 to 10 on each of those, and then after you rate that, you now have a visual representation. Now, if you believe in balance, then you may look at, well, what is your weakest link, and that's the one that you may go on. You may think it's the one over here when it's actually the one over here.
And those 10 things could be career, and
It could be career, it could be your spirituality, it could be your wealth, it could
your
be
emotions, or
your emotions. This one is going to be your relationship with your significant other, and the second one will be your relationship with your friends, because how you feel towards your husband or wife is going to be different from how you feel towards your brother, your sister, or your best friend. So those are, in my opinion, two different aspects. And one of the ones that most people forget about, and I know I forget about, is leisure travel and fun. How much do you go out and just enjoy the fruits of your labor? So many people go out there, and I'm very guilty of this myself, where it becomes like a workaholic. You know, I want to got to go make the money, got to go make the money, and then when you get the money, you don't enjoy it. And that's, I think, is often a lot of people's their lowest one. Now, there's also people that are spendthrifts that go and just spend everything on money and don't put anything on anything else in their lives. So, I mean, you have to look at yourself as to what's the most important, and all those 10 different aspects. You have to look at, get a clear look in those. Now, I'm not always a big supporter on everything has to be in balance, and that's a later topic. However, most people feel that you should have balance, and then yes, you look at the wheel of balance to see where you are. So you may say, I'm at a 3 here and up to a 7 here. Doesn't mean you have to be a 10 everywhere, because you never are going to be a 10 everywhere. No. It's impossible.
But just a good evaluation and just kind of check it. Because a lot of people aren't sectioning them out and realizing that there's something that needs maintenance in different parts.
They don't even realize that there's maintenance in other areas of their lives. They may be just focusing on what's immediately...
Maybe career.
Or maybe family or whatever. They don't, but they neglect their health. And then, they're eating fast food all the time, and, they have diabetes, whatever, because they don't focus on that aspect.
Until they're forced to do something different.
And that's the sad thing, is a lot of people don't realize about this stuff until they're forced. It could be, as far as health is concerned, it could be that you have a heart attack or something devastating happen. If it's money that is concerned, you got downsized like I did in 1999, and now you have no money because you weren't planning for it, or that sudden divorce, or whatever. And there's all these different aspects of your life that are that could be affected, but you may not realize that those even exist until something dramatic happens. That's sad.
So not only just taking an evaluation in, but we want to focus on changing perspectives. You want to tell us about the name of your business?
Yes, the name of my business is called Plentiful Perspectives, and the reason I chose that name is I wanted to go with something where you're going to have different perspectives of any situation. And I don't know how many viewers out there that have done this, or even yourself, where you got into a disagreement with somebody just because your perspective on how you observed the situation was different from how somebody else observed that situation. And
it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. and it's all because our perspectives are all based upon how our past has occurred. If, for an example, if an event happens and a farmer sees it versus somebody from the city, completely different viewpoints. A farmer is going to look at things from their perspective of being on the farm and open land and farming, while a city person will be based upon the hustle and bustle of a city.
Well, and I think the human condition that's happening is we want absolutes that we can count on all the time, but you're celebrating the many perspectives.
Yes, because there are no absolutes, because absolute is all based upon perspective again. I mean, if you go deep into physics, there are principles in physics that depending on how you look or try to measure what's going on will actually have an effect on the result. So absolutely. I mean, one of the great documentaries I suggest out there for people to watch, I don't know if you've seen this or not, is What the Bleep Do We Know?
Do we know? Yes,
I've seen it. Now, the word bleep is usually done with different characters, but they talked about
quantum mechanics.
Quantum mechanics, exactly. And one of the topics they had talked about was when you're shooting a photon through, let's say, one single slit, and if you're shooting the photons, you see on the back screen back there, that's where all the photons sit. But if you put 2 slits and you shoot photons through it, they don't appear behind the slits, they appear in the middle. So if you're doing the 1 slit, it's known as the particle theory, while if you're doing the 2 slits, it's known as the wave, the wave theory. So it's like, depending on how you do your measurements will affect your results. So that's how perspectives are also looked at. That's how I view things.
So, and you were molded by such an eclectic background.
Yes.
And so basically you're helping people celebrate that curiosity in themselves that they probably once had, that maybe they just forgot how to practice and forgot what to do with it anymore.
Well, not only that, but also opening up their mind that there's other possibilities out there. That's the main thing is being open to how other people could perceive things. I mean, when I was in my teens and I joined the Navy and I was stationed in Japan, my perspective on things are going to be completely different from a Japanese perspective. So, and that's just because of our upbringing and our cultural and our even our, let's say, our belief patterns, where most of them are going to be Buddhist. So I'm looking at it from a Christian perspective.
But we're all looking for the same thing. So you get
Absolutely.
that humanity thread between you.
Well, and that's what you
great.
start to do, start looking for the commonalities.
Right.
And then develop an understanding that, hey, you're okay with your opinion, I'm okay with my opinion.
Excellent. So we're speaking with Kevin Dunlap, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, and we're going to go take a break and say hello and listen to our sponsors, and come back and talk a little bit more about what's going on up and coming with Kevin's events and workshops, and go into his book a little bit further. So thank you very much for listening. We'll see you in a minute.
Luminosity Wellness Center is a community of independent holistic practitioners specializing in stress relief, pain reduction, depression, anxiety, weight loss, smoking, relationship issues, trauma, fears, and phobias, as well as everyday life situations. If you are stuck, struggling, or unsatisfied, Luminosity Wellness Center provides answers, solutions, and guidance. Call 702-721-9355 or visit our website at luminocitywellnesscenter.com. We have a resource center.
Welcome back. My name is Abra McGrath, and we are here at the Health and Wellness Hour here at the Luminosity Center. Today we're speaking with Kevin Dunlap. Kevin, so great to have you.
Thank you.
He is the author of Designing Your Own Destiny, and it's a wonderful workbook on how to create a beautiful future and get some strategies in order. If you have wonderful ideas that you've been mulling around for years that you want to, get a jump start on, Kevin is here to offer us some wonderful points on how to do that. And he's a transformation, life, and business coach. And Kevin, we wanted to talk a little bit about accountability. I know a lot of times people have a hard time just sticking to their word. They're fine doing it for other people. They can analyze other people's lives, but doing it for themselves, it's just how do we even start?
Well, for me, that's one of the, I'm glad you asked that question, because when I was going through my initial personal development courses and live coursework, and I feel you learn so much more by going to a live event than just reading or watching videos. This was an advanced course, and I always told myself I had a high integrity, and I would make sure if I told you I was going to do something, I would do it. That was key point to me. And then I did an exercise, and then I realized that I had the least amount of integrity to myself, which you were talking about, accountability.
Wow.
And I think most people out there are that way. They say, hey, I'm going to be working out 5 times a week, and it's coming up Friday, and you're only your 3rd time. I'll do it tomorrow. That right there is not holding yourself accountable. It's not holding yourself to your own level of integrity. So what I've discovered for myself was one of the first elements of having a better accountability is to have somebody hold you accountable. And that is, at this moment right now, I have an accountability partner that I talk to on a weekly basis. Every Tuesday, right around 5:30. She lives in Vancouver, Canada. I live here in Las Vegas. And we will go on, and for at least an hour to hour and a half, we're going to say, what is your game plan? What have you done this week? And I say, okay, well, this is what I've done this week. This is what I'm going to do next week. And one of the first things that I found out about holding myself accountable, and I challenge everybody to do this, because if you're not willing to do this, then you have to question how much you actually want something. Part of the accountability is also having a strong enough why to go and get it. And back in 2010, I had a weight loss goal, and I wanted to lose. At that time, I wanted to lose 70 pounds in 3 months. Thankfully, I accomplished 60 pounds, which is pretty incredible.
That's pretty good.
However, one of the things, this was 2010, and this is one of the things I did, and I challenge people, especially with weight loss goals, to do this. And if they cringe at this, I question their ability to
How serious
they
right.
are. And what I did was, at that time, I had 660 friends on Facebook. And I said on day one, I was doing a P90X challenge, which was a 3-month challenge that I was going to hold every other day. I was going to post on Facebook. These are my results. And therefore, I had all 660 people across the world holding me accountable
under
for that.
Magnifying glass.
So, if you have a goal and you're already a social media person, if you're willing to post it on, let's say, on Facebook or LinkedIn that you're doing this, then that to me shows a strong enough why. If you're not,
you don't want to let all those people down.
No, you don't want to let them all down. Like, I remember doing that, and people say, "Oh, I hate jump." One of the posts I said, "I hate wacky jacks," which is one of the exercises in P90X, and I got like 5 or 6 responses. Like, okay, these are people actually watching my posts, and even though they may not post or comment or like or whatever, they're still seeing it. And you'd be surprised how many people see what you're doing on something like Facebook without acknowledging it. And the same question to you is, how many people's stuff do you see on Facebook that you don't acknowledge?
Right. Yeah.
So
Wow.
that to me was by having a live person doing it, and then also using social media to your advantage, is I think is a huge way of holding yourself accountable for something.
Yeah, you don't even have to call it an accountability meeting, but just have those people that knock out the bull crap, right? Just cut through it all and make sure that they hold your highest.
Because these are your friends.
Right,
they're going to hold you. They want to see you succeed. Most people want to see you succeed. If I was writing this book again, if I was writing the second edition of this, and I said, I want to write 1 chapter every 3 days or 1 chapter a week. I mean, it doesn't matter what the goal is. Right. It could be anything from writing a book, weight loss, to starting your own business.
And then once that momentum is going, you're excited to go talk to your people the next week. Look what I did.
Yeah, it is all the.
And how can
look
you
at
help me with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're exactly right. Because once the momentum gets started, and now you're comfortable with doing it, now you have people that are offering their support or offering their help, and that becomes huge. Because sometimes you never know who's going to be on your team or who you want to be on your team until much later. And when let's say I'm doing the book, and all of a sudden I have an editor come and say, "Hey, if you want me to help edit your book, I'd be happy to," or a graphic design. You just never know. You just never know who's out there.
So where would somebody start besides the accountability people? Where else should people start? You do the evaluation. We talked about the wheel of balance, so kind of get a frame of where you are in your life and where you want to be. Where else should we go?
Well, then you have to figure out what kind of goals that you want, and they have to be goals that are very specific and measurable. Because if you don't have something that's specific and measurable, you're never going to attain. Because you're never going to know how you're going to get there. And once you have your goals in mind and you got your accountability people in place, then we do what I call you do a reverse engineer. So you figure out where you want to be a year from now or 5 years, whatever, how long your goal time frame is, and then you work it backwards as to where you need to be, say 6 months from now, 3 months from now, 1 month from now, 2 weeks from now, and you make into smaller steps. I'd like to go back to something that's so obvious, but they made a whole movie about it. It was a Bill Murray movie. I think it was back in the 80s, called Baby Steps. Or no, What About Bob? It was called What About Bob.
Oh, What About Bob?
And he was all about taking the baby steps. So it's all the exact same thing. It's all about taking those baby steps.
So just chipping away and making it a daily practice. So that's what your
workbook
does.
That's another key point, is making it a habit. If your habit is to, let's go back to the weight loss, is to work out, and I was doing it 6 days a week, and also maintaining a certain diet, I had to make that into a new habit. Because let's go again with the weight loss. If you start doing diets, well, diets are short-term things. That's not a lifestyle change. So you have to do things that are going to be lifestyle changes. I don't care what it is. If it could be, I want to start my own business, and you say I need to speak to at least 5 people per day that could be potential clients. Okay, you got to go to that networking meeting. Even if you don't want to go to that networking meeting, you still got to go to, because that's still part of your thing. But after you do it for 2, 3, 4 weeks and it becomes a habit, then you have your own habits that you're just following.
And then the beautiful serendipity can happen along the way.
Exactly.
Beautiful surprises.
Right.
And it will gain that momentum and have kind of a life of its own, and it won't seem such a big idea that you can't accomplish, because you're making all these great accomplishments each day.
But there's another book out there that there's a few books I so highly support, but one of them is called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And with the compound effect, it's basically saying changing things, the small, minute changes over time has huge results. One of the examples he used in his book is, I want to cut out 100 calories per day. Everything else is going to remain the same. Over the course of a year, that's 36,000 calories.
Wow.
36,000 calories over 10 pounds.
Wow.
And that's just taking out 100, a small, I'm not going to have that Coca-Cola today. But everything else is going to be the same. I'm still going to eat McDonald's French fries, whatever it is. But you change that one thing per day. Another visual one I like to do is, what if you had a pistol? And I had a target right there in front of me, and they were about 1 foot away. Does it matter if I change the angle of that a little bit? I'm still going to hit the target. But if I move that target out to 100 feet away, it's that becomes important. However, if I move that target to a mile away, if you don't assume gravity or wind, that little shift, that one little shift of 1/4 of a degree is not going to cause it to go completely off target. So it's going back to the compound effect. It's those little things that you do that you start off with becomes a habit, and those are just snowball into other things.
Awesome. I love it. So you also have a great analogy of the GPS system. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. This wasn't one of my own creations. This is actually somebody else came up to said this to me at one time. It says the GPS is essentially part of goal setting. So when you're setting goals, you need to know where you are today. I mean, I don't care how ugly that may be. It could be a weight goal. I don't want to weigh myself. Well, yes, you need to weigh yours. You need to know where you are today. It's just the
evaluation.
It's just the evaluation. It's your starting point. It's like, this is where I'm starting at, so I know where that is. And then you have your end point is your point B. Let's just call it. With the GPS, like if you put it in your car on your phone, your GPS is going to know exactly where you are, regardless if your car or your phone. And then you have your point B, and it will route your path to get there. And it could be across state lines. It could even go into Canada, wherever it may be. Now, with the thing is, with the GPS, if you get off target, let's say on a car, there's a road blockage. You have to go a different route. What does your GPS always do when you make a turn that's not on it? It
says rerouting.
It says rerouting, recalculating, whatever.
Yeah.
It tells you that you have to go a different route. Same thing with your goals. Like yes, you're going to have days that you're not going to be able to do something. I mean, when I was doing my second round of P90X, I strained my arm. I couldn't work out for 3 months. So I had to figure out other things to do. Yes, there are hiccups that are going to come up. Accidents that are going to happen in the road, and just like any GPS, you just reroute and you go a different path to get there. That's all there is.
So just looking at it objectively, I think we're trying to take out fear, because fear is or you can talk yourself out of anything, right?
That is true.
Those self-doubts and all that, but having your game plan.
Well, having your game plan and having a strong enough why to get to that get to that destination. Let's say you're getting to the wedding chapel. That's a pretty strong destination to get there. If you get rerouted, you're going to find another way to get there. Even if you have to go skydiving and land on the chapel, you'll find a way to get to that game point. So if your why is strong enough, then yes, whatever that comes up is going to
dissolve the fear and doubt.
It's going to dissolve the fear. Well, I'm going to go for a slightly different path here. One of my backgrounds that I have is in the stunt industry. And one of the things that we learned doing stunt work, that's why I got so many different ways of looking at things.
That's so great.
One of the things they essentially instill you in the stunt industry is there is no such thing as elimination of fear. You cannot be fearless.
Or you got to take that fear and run with it.
You take that fear and you run with it, or you just control your fear. Because once you become fearless, you become dangerous.
Oh.
Because that's when you're like, okay, I'm going to do my 300th bungee jump off this bridge. Oh, I forgot to connect my bungee cord to the bridge.
You get careless.
You get careless because you don't go through the checks and balances. So it's never about becoming fearless. And please let me tell you that again and again and again. I could probably tell you almost any stage comedian. I don't care if it's Jerry Seinfeld. I'm sure he still gets butterflies every time he goes on it. That's fear. That fear keeps him sharp. It keeps him focused. But the thing is, you cannot let that fear overwhelm you. You have to control it to your advantage.
The right perspective.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So, what other characteristics would you like to talk about? Do you want to go into your workshops? You want to, I mean, this book is pretty powerful tool, and so you can teach people how to use it.
Yes. One of the things that I will be doing, most likely starting this month of February, is I'm going to start creating the workshops. Some talks that I've been giving has been just based upon one chapter of the book alone, chapter 15, which is on goal setting. And with the workshops, I want to actually create the six steps to achieving any goal that you have in life, and how to make sure that you get there guaranteed if you don't give up. That's the most important thing, that you don't give up. I cannot guarantee a goal if you quit the next day. I mean,
right.
Duh. So I want to create those workshops, but on the workshops, all of my main personal growth training has all been with live events that are interactive. We call it experiential, and that's how I want to make my workshops as well. I mean, if I go up there and I just teach you, and there's nothing saying bad about Tony Robbins. I mean, he changed my life. So,
right.
But if you go to a lot of those kinds of events where the instructors just blah 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 blah, and it's more of a motivational
right.
thing, you don't you get it, and you might some of it sink in, but most of it will go away within 1 to 2 weeks. However, with an experiential workshop, where you're actually creating your own game plan, and this is what I want to do with the goals, is help people figure out what goal that they may want, even though it may be different than what they think it is now, and then actually creating that step-by-step process in order to get there. So that's the kind of a workshop that I want to start.
You outlined it like maybe 3 hours or something.
3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours of getting to the nitty gritty.
Exactly, because it depends upon the size. I mean, if I have 200 people in there, it's going to take longer.
Right.
So, and we have to break that up into smaller teams. However, yes, I mean, I want to get to the nitty gritty of that. I just don't want to just teach you this thing. I want you to actually walk away and say, okay, I have it in hand right now.
Coach, we've got a strategy. We've got this game plan. Yeah. Here we go.
Exactly, it's like football. Right. They have all the different plays. You have your playbook. You have your things that you can put together. And if you actually do the sixth step, if you do the sixth step, which is actually, let's say you have that accountability partner, now you have somebody holding you accountable, and that's just one person on your team, but you have that accountability partner that holds you accountable for, say, okay, have you gone to step 3 yet? Why aren't you at step 3 yet?
What can we do to get you there?
Yeah, what can we do to get you there? I mean, same thing is let me ask you personally, and maybe you guys in the audience as well. Have you ever had a workout buddy?
Yes.
Has that workout buddy had gotten you to go to the gym on days you did not want to go?
Absolutely.
And vice versa?
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to work out your brain. You got to work out your goals. You got to work it all out. So.
And that's how any kind of personal growth is done. Because if you're not working on yourself, you're just existing. One of the because one of the things I think 50 Cent said, if you're not growing, you're dying. And it's the exact same thing in personal life. If you're not actively trying to go after more in your life, a better relationship with your wife, a better job, career, expanding your business, if you're not growing, you're actually decaying. There is no such thing as what is it called? Being stagnant. Or being stable. There's no such thing as being stable. It's either growing or dying.
Awesome.
That's my opinion. But.
Thank you, Kevin Dunlap. We're going to go ahead and take another break, and we'll be right back talking to Kevin a little bit more about taking your business and your life by the horns and accomplishing your goals.
Luminosity Wellness Center is a community of independent holistic practitioners specializing in stress relief, pain reduction, depression, anxiety, weight loss, smoking, relationship issues, trauma, fears, and phobias, as well as everyday life situations. If you are stuck, struggling, or unsatisfied, Luminosity Wellness Center provides answers, solutions, and guidance. Call 702-721-9355 or visit our website at luminocitywellnesscenter.com. We have a resource center for all your needs, books, CDs, crystals, and more. Inside the center, we have practitioner and event rooms for rent. Come by and check out the facilities at 2400 North Tenaya Way, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89128.
Welcome back to the Health and Wellness Hour. My name is Abra McGrath, and today we have Kevin Dunlap visiting with us, and he's giving us some words of inspiration on how to develop and design our future. It's wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you.
And we're speaking a little bit about designing your own destiny. That's the name of his book. And he's a life and business coach, and he can help you execute those wonderful goals that you have. We've also been talking a little bit about your podcast and how you go into different topics with listeners. And I heard one of yours last night about the 3 lists. If you want to tell us a little bit about it.
Well, yes, I do have a podcast on iTunes. It's called Life's Little Lessons, and we've got a few episodes out there, and we're still in the process of recording some other ones. And Abra said that she listened to the one that was on the 3 lists last night. Now the 3 list is a topic a mentor of mine mentioned to us, and I kind of took it out of context for the podcast. However, when this mentor explained it to us, I was actually a volunteer staff member for another personal growth company. So, and one of the other staffers, she was saying that how do you find the people, the ultimate person for your life? And he broke it down into the 3 lists. Now, the 3 lists, I actually believe not only does that help you find the right person for your life, but it can also be to help you find the right person for your business. Because the 3 lists is basically a make it or break it kind of a thing. And so, just to go briefly into it, the 3 lists are let's say you're looking for that perfect someone for a romantic relationship. Obviously, it could be other aspects as well, but let's say that romantic relationship, and you break it down into you make 3 columns, and in the very first column, the one on the left, you actually want to say these are your must-haves, these are your deal breakers. If that person doesn't have these criteria, they're done. They're out of your life. And again, if it's a business partner, exact same thing. They have to have these criteria, these must-haves. The second one, I'll go into a little bit more detail after I explain the 3. The second one is going to be, these are the would-be nices. Would-be nice, excuse me.
But it's negotiable.
But negotiable.
Right, okay.
And those are the ones that are, you're a little fuzzy on, and those are the ones that would say, okay, yes.
Like your preference.
Your preference, exactly. But you could be flexible on. And then the last one would be nice, but not important. And those are the ones that it would be nice to have those, yet it's not important. If they don't have it, big deal. I don't really care. And that would be one of those things. So, like for me, if I was out looking for somebody, if for an example, if somebody that doesn't clean up after themselves is a must-have, and you're dating somebody that's a slob, eventually that's going to become an issue. I mean, it's going to become a deal breaker. So, by getting clarity on what you want in the must-haves, that's really where you get clarity on who you're trying to attract in your life. Because once you start becoming clear on what you're trying to attract, you are attracted. The universe will always give to you. Just like we mentioned earlier in the show, if you're, whenever the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, once you are open to receiving that, you will get that. We talked about that in the compound effect, and I talked about, about going out giving business cards. Once you start going out there and you're putting that energy out there, you are receiving. The 3 list is no difference. It falls all through the same rules of the universe. So with the first one, the deal breakers, because it's going to become an issue later on, you have to look at that person and say, okay, you know what, you're not fulfilling this part of my life. Either you start doing it, or we're just going to have to dissolve it. The important, which is the second one, but negotiable, that's the one that's okay. Let's say, for an example, I'm a 49-year-old man at the time of this recording, and say my ideal woman was between 41 and 52, and an awesome 39-year-old came in. Is that something that I could negotiate a little bit? Well, that's why it's important, but you can negotiate a little bit. So that's your fuzzy area. And however, then say the third one was would be nice but not important. Okay, I want her to have a nice tan, and she comes in and she's albino-ish, but that's not that important to me. It's like, okay, it would be nice to have that, but it's not that important. So, but by getting clarity on these 3 lists, I've found that a lot of times what I thought was a must-have is actually just an important. And that's what, is that really the deal breaker?
reevaluating what you think is important.
Exactly,
really prioritizing.
Really prioritizing it. Because if for an example, if I don't want to date with a woman with small children, but I want to have small children in the future, there's a disconnect there. I'm not getting clarity with the universe.
Right.
So you have to be very specific. Is that really a deal breaker, or is that just an important? Or is that important, or is that would be nice, but not but not that important.
Okay.
So by getting that clarity on those three lists helps you get that clarity in what you want in a relationship. Now let's expand that to your business partner. I want somebody that has this. I want my CPA to have this kind of experience. They have to have, let's say, real estate law experience. They need to do this. If they don't have that, they're out. Sorry. You may be a nice guy, you may be a sweetheart, whatever, but you don't fit the criteria I need for that position.
And also focusing on the positive, right?
Yes.
Because in laws of the secret and the power of attraction, they say even if the universe doesn't hear the non-smoker, you got to say smoke-free, right? Or
well, you look.
Or
yes,
however you're.
That's actually one of the topics I actually go into during the goal setting is how the mind always sees in pictures. And if I always say don't think of a blue nova, most people will think of a blue nova.
Right.
If I say don't think of a banana, what do you just think of? Did you just think of an apple? No, you thought of a banana because you don't. The mind it sees everything in pictures. The second is the mind does not see the negatives. And I say, when I say don't think of a banana, again you're thinking only the positive. Now if you're saying I want to date a non-smoker, what do you just think? What did you just think of? You thought of a smoker. So you may say I want to date somebody with healthy lungs. I'm not even thinking about doing the whole smoking aspect.
Oh.
So you always look at the positive. That's how you attract things. Because when you start focusing on the negative, and that's what too many people do, they focus on the negative of things. That's why they keep attracting that into their lives. It's because they're focused. Just like let's say, and I'm not going to go too far on this, but like people that keep getting into the same kind of relationships. Let's say women dating abusive men dating their mother figures, or whatever. You're constantly thinking about that aspect of those people, and that is what you keep attracting into your life.
What you don't want instead of what you do want.
So always focus on the positive. Always focus on what you do want, and completely ignore or dissuade the negatives. And I'm not saying become I'm not saying that. but when you're overall looking at your goals, but practice on the positives.
The positives.
Yes.
Excellent. I like it. And what other aspects would you like to touch on? We have a few minutes to go over some more aspects of your book and what's coming up in the future. And
well, is this okay to go on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, this is what I'd like for everybody to do right now, because I am going to be having future programs that are going to be becoming available, future talks that I'll be on, possibly even other shows that I'm on. However, this is more importantly for future workshops that I'm going to be doing. So what I would like for everybody to do, when you get a chance, is you can go to my website. That's going to be just my name is KevinADunlap.com. Again, that's Kevin A. Dunlap. That's spelled LAP.com, not the tires. That's what it is. The other thing you can do is, if you prefer, because you can go in there, you can see our blogs. You can actually see my podcast, The Life of Little Lessons. I'll put that on my website as well. You can also sign up to be part of our email list, so I can notify you of future events coming up. If you're more of the millennial type of person that prefers everything by cell phone, I also have created a short code. And if you're in who you're typing to, if you type into the telephone number or just the 5-digit number 40691, again that's at 40691, and in the text message type in just my name without the initial, just Kevin Dunlap. You'll receive a link that you just click on that, and then you can sign up with your name, gender, and email, and then you'll be part of my email list as well, or text message list as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's always so inspiring to have you around, and I can't wait to be part of your workshops. I need to get down to the nitty-gritty and set some amazing goals, because I can't just have, I want to gift this to everybody and, see everybody in my circles and tribes succeed, but I definitely need to work on it myself. And to have that evaluation is just so priceless,
Yes.
knowing where you are, so you have a point of reference to start. My GPS is going, and I'm really excited
that's the great
about
thing
it.
that I'm going to be doing at the workshop is we'll be going over that wheel of balance, the 10 different aspects. Doesn't mean you have to only focus on one. You can focus on 2 or 3. Because this is a year goal. So you can have multiple aspects. You could be, I want to get into this specific weight level, plus I want to be married, or I want to have this ideal relationship, or I want to get my career started. You don't have to focus on one. You can focus on multiple ones.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So you get multiple GPSs going.
Yay!
Yes.
I'll get the momentum going
Yes.
on all of those simultaneously. Yes. That's fabulous. Thank you so much for listening to us today. We're sponsored by Luminosity Wellness Center over 2400 North Tenaya Way up here in the Northwest Las Vegas area. And we're brought to you by WWDBTV.com. Thank you for having us today, and hope to see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.